is nice. Very exciting. So we thought we'd do a few brief opening remarks. We'll start with Peter, and then we'll walk on over to Shay's part of the gallery. And if anybody has any questions, I'll certainly be around afterwards. But maybe you can kind of lead us into these brand new bodies for us.
That's quite a task. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad to see you. And yeah, it's a wonderful gallery, and thanks so much for putting up this exhibition. Shay is a wonderful artist, and you're going to enjoy his work, definitely. But the title of my show is Unsettled, and it finally dawned on me that that is really kind of a core issue in my work. I really love work that is just a little bit off, that just takes you somewhere where you don't quite expect to go. And so I realized I was doing a lot of portraits, and I became fascinated by infants. And they're really difficult to paint. So I don't know how many painters are here, but babies are a challenge, and ventriloquist dummies are just strange. So they really kind of took over and became an interesting thing, and I decided I would build ventriloquist dummies. So I built about 5 of them. A couple of them have interchangeable heads, and the first ones that I made were made specifically to pose for this painting. So I sat them up and painted from life, so to speak. And then once I had the dummies, you know, one led to another, and it just became a subject that I still don't quite know what it's all about, why it interests me so much. And I was just talking to Sarah Perry, another great artist, and we were talking about the idea of just intuition, just following it. It really is one of those subtle, strange gifts that I think goes away if you don't listen to it. And so all of these paintings were just done on a very intuitive level because I felt like they needed to be in my world. And so I'm flattered that they're now in your world and you're looking at them, and I hope you get some of the same satisfaction or doubt or creepy feelings or interesting ideas from the work, but really do appreciate that. And if anybody has any questions, I love questions. I love answering questions. Yes?
Tell us about the rays.
About the
rays.
Oh, the rays. Yeah. Yeah, that was just there are 2 rays. This one here, whose name is Sugar. Sugar Ray. And oh, you just ruined it for me. And then this one is James Earl. There were a couple of famous rays that I thought might be interesting to paint. But it came from seeing actual stingrays and at an aquarium where they come up to the glass. And there's that sense of recognition but strange kind of distance. And I thought that here's an animal that needs to have its portrait done. So that's really what led to depicting them. I'm also working on a sawfish, which has a similar kind of configuration of mouth and nostrils, but with that tremendous sort of sawed beak on the top too. That one isn't finished yet.
Peter, how did you get these rays to pose for you?
You know, they were quite eager to pose, actually. I think I was at the aquarium and they came up to the glass and stayed there and kept looking at me, so I thought, you know, this just seems like it should be done. So yeah, that's what led to that. Any other questions or comments?
I'd be interested in seeing the dummies that you made.
Yeah, kind of. Some of them have been posted on social media and things of that sort.
Is there a reason you didn't choose to show them?
Yeah, I'm kind of keeping them for now. Yeah. So yeah, maybe at some point in the future they'll make an appearance. But you know, I think most people are a little bit off by dummies, myself included. My wife's an actress, and one of them appeared on stage with her, where she was speaking, you know, through it. Yeah, it was kind of a funny event. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I love doing what I do, and I think it's always fun because it just takes you somewhere where you don't really anticipate going, and you end up with some kind of paintings that take some funny directions, like the baby in water, for example, started just as a painting of a baby, just sitting there, and for some reason it wasn't quite interesting enough, and I think that, for me anyways, water is kind of a metaphor for transcendence, or the absolute state and to sort of submerge this baby in water and have it surrounded by another strange species, catfish. Just felt somehow poetic, kind of disturbing, kind of comforting, and I like when very separate kind of feelings can somehow come together in a work of art. For me, that feels like a kind of completion. Because I think that's what life is a whole bunch of disparate kind of things, and they're all happening at once. You know, we don't have one experience and then a different kind of experience. We have a whole bunch of stuff all at once, and I think that's really what makes it rich and compelling and interesting. So I feel like, you know, the same standards I have for life, I have for art, and to do it otherwise feels kind of like half the story, I suppose.
This one to me just knocks my socks off. It feels like, I mean, catfish are bottom dwellers, bottom feeders that come up from the mud.
Yeah.
And here this baby feels like it was formed in the water, formed underneath. And,
Well, babies are.
yes.
Yeah, that's the thing, yeah.
Yes,
yeah. Yeah, we all come from water, you know, and yeah, it's an interesting kind of thing that just felt right, and I'm so glad that on a kind of poetic sense, it resonates with you.
It's like the unconscious bleeding through.
I think so.
But it does on so much of your work. It triggers almost like an itch in the back of your head. You go like, oh, that's familiar, but it's so not. What is that?
Yeah, I love that kind of response, and that is kind of the place that I'm aiming, and I'm so gratified that it does hit that mark, and that's what you do. I mean, your work always has that dreamlike, beautiful, disturbing kind of mixture, and I think that's one reason I love your work so much.
This really is another profound body.
Yeah.
So different too.
Thank you so much. Well, I don't want to. My wife just showed up. For those of you who didn't believe it, I do have a wife. She is performing in an opera tonight, and she's going to be here for a few moments. Carol Foreman, the beautiful Carol Foreman.
I'm not usually shy.
You surprised me.
I wanted to. I didn't know it was going to be so formal.
Anyways, you know, plenty of time for us to talk one-on-one, but Shea Brevis, amazing artist, and I think we should give him a chance to do some opening remarks. Shall we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.